The Kennedys are the closest thing we have to a royal family, aren't they? What is this morbid fascination we have with the concept of someone automatically born to be better than we are? Leave it thus to sail away from royalty's tyrannical rule, only to be completely fixated on the marriage of Prince Charles and Lady Di, or as I like to call them, ears and tears. You know, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but for a country that regards Americans in approximately the same light as Murray held Ted Baxter, the comportment of England's royal family these last few years would probably get them banned from Billy Idol's tour bus. Much like Major League Baseball, the throne of England has deteriorated from its grand and glorious past into an infighting, badly behaved, exorbitantly expensive institution that nobody can really remember the point of anymore. At one time in history, it made perfect sense that a country's leaders should have absolute power and reign over their subjects as God's proxy. And at one time, burning witches and dying of smallpox made perfect sense, too. Come on, everybody knows that the concept of divine right of monarchs is nearly as dated as the outfits on the roller disco episode of Chips. Yet, the English accept without question the pomp and circumstance that accompany the crown, even though at this point in time it all seems to have about as much meaning as a collection of feminist essays by Anna Nicole Smith. Sure, you hear some discontented Johnny Rotten rumbling from time to time, but for all intents and purposes, the British monarchy is as entrenched as Rush Limbaugh in a hammock. You know, in a... Yeah, bad man, O.J. You know, in a modern world, what purpose do these members of the unbelievably lucky sperm club serve other than to make jug-eared, needle-nosed commoners feel better about their looks? I mean, my God, the royal families of Europe have been inbreeding for so long, their genealogy chart has fewer branches on it than Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. The current day role of the Queen is as a hood ornament in a bad hat. An overpaid plaster of Paris deep-sea diver at the bottom of a very deep and stagnant fish tank. She's a figurehead, a title holder, a face to put on the money. She's got about as much impact on how Britain is run as the kid wearing the dopey costume at Disneyland has on what Mike Eisner orders for lunch. And now that the sun has set on the English Empire, her kids have nothing to do until she dies except ski, play polo, screw like rabbits, and squander the royal subjects' money. The sex lives of the royals have always made Larry Flint's screening room look like an ashram. They are a drooling band of libidinous, flesh-happy boff monkeys who have stopped pulling their sword from the stone and started plunging it into everything else on the planet. What's the point of being king if you can't plow the serfs and commoners once in a while, huh? And whose sex life comes under more micro-scrutiny than Princess Di? As a matter of fact, forget about her sex life. Charles did. Make all that aspects of her life. Even Di's choice of a German car instead of a British one apparently caused a bigger shitstorm than the time Pavarotti drank tap water while singing in Guadalajara during hurricane season. Laissez douce grande. And if the royal bloodline is supposed to produce progeny that are physical specimens worthy of the throne, then how do you explain those Jethro Bodine cereal bowls Prince Charles calls ears? I haven't seen acoustic organs that big since the last time I went to an Argent concert. And you know, he'll probably get mad when he hears all this stuff I'm saying. And I don't mean on TV or from someone else. I mean, he can hear me right now. That's how big his ears are. You know, I think that if any good has come from the field day that the media has had with the trials and tribulations of the royal family, it is that it exposes them for what they are, human. and rather unimpressive humans at that. When it comes down to it, I'm 100 times more impressed with the guy who invented Post-it notes than I am with the entire royal family combined. I mean, at least he created something. And in fact, I think the Post-it note guy should have been the one sucking on Fergie's toes. You know, this bullshit would never play over here in the colonies. Unlike the Brits, we turn over our royalty every 4 to 8 years. Stateside, we have a term for people who want to be king: paranoid schizophrenics. So why do our orthodontically challenged cousins fall for it? Well, when the British taxpayers foot the bill for the royal clubfoots, what they're really paying for is their fairy tale. They want to think their money is being spent on glass slippers and pumpkins that turn into carriages and all sorts of handsome prince paraphernalia. Proletariat life over there is so dreary. They just want that fantasy, that dream. So when they find out their money's being spent on soccer players who do use their hands, rubbers, and long-distance calls to discuss Zen and the art of tampon reincarnation, well, naturally, their approval rating is going to drop faster than a pair of tube socks on Kate Moss. You know, as governments evolve to provide the greatest good for the greatest number of people, the royal family has become a vestigial organ. Indeed, the royal family is Britain's appendix. And I say that as long as it doesn't flare up, you might as well keep it. But right now, the royals are throbbing and provoking a radiating distraction. So send the surgeon in and be done with it. Face facts. Britain has no practical purpose anymore except providing America with fashions, rock stars, the wonderful Emma Thompson, and that little bald fucker who pimped for Benny Hill. The sooner you realize it, the happier you'll all be. God save the Queen, because, quite frankly, the rest of us can't be bothered. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
No, you know, like you said, we are fading empire, are we, Dennis?
Oh, jeez, no.
We're just Emma Thompson and me that lives here.
And you were included.